What's going on, guys? A question I get all the time from members of my community is, when is the right time to go into ownership? And they ask me, why haven't I yet gone into ownership? They'll say, oh, Dr. Wildman, you're making over $500,000 as an associate. Like, why haven't you made that next step? Why wouldn't you, go and own your own practice and make even more money, right? And that's a valid question. And it's something that I honestly have been asking myself. So let's get into it. So I'll tell you why I'm not doing that at this current moment. And I'll also give you some tips on what I think you should have accomplished before you start to think about going to ownership yourself. Look, there's nothing wrong with ownership, right? It's the ultimate path to earning more percentage on, on the care you provide to patients and building equity long-term. But timing and readiness matter now more than I think ever. So in my current role, I earn over about, $500,000 a year. I've only been practicing dentistry for about 3 years now. And I earn that without placing implants, not owning practice, not serving as a partner. And I like that I can leave the office and I leave it there and I can get back to my life and work on things like this, which I'm really passionate about, teaching and, helping people that were in my shoes not make the mistakes I made. So that's one of the reasons that I haven't really thought about it yet. When things go wrong in your office, which they will, no matter if you're an owner or an associate, not having that ownership weighing on me, I don't take a lot of things personal. When things go wrong with the patient, a billing issue, an insurance problem, my assistants, not being consistent in showing up, calling out, these things I don't really take personal. I kind of just say, okay, all right, well, what do we need to do? I just get through the day. When there's something that catastrophic that happens, right? We had a office that there was a fire near and they had to shut down the office, right? If I was an owner, I would be, losing out on money, having to maybe pay for damages. So these are the things that would prevent me from sleeping well at night. So don't get me wrong, there's frustrations in being an associate too. You can't do everything your way, even at times when your way would be better and more profitable for the office and just better for your patients overall. But for me, that trade-off is worth the freedom and peace of mind I have once I leave the office. However, with the right opportunity, my mind could change, right? If there was perfect opportunity, especially if I was able to have a partner, I think I would definitely jump on the opportunity. And my take and position in being an owner would be to kind of scale up and have multiple offices and more so be on the entrepreneurial aspect of it. It's something that I'm super passionate about. And I think it's really tough to do the doctor and owner role. It's really hard, especially when you're the only one practicing in your office. I don't like the idea of owning a business that depends on me. If something happens to me, it crashes and burns. If I want to take vacation, it's, that's hurting my earnings. That's, something that I, will just have in the back of my head. So, who knows? With the right opportunity, maybe I will take that path. Now, if you're serious about ownership, which some of my members in my school community who are like third-year dental students are already thinking about owning their own practice, which is very ambitious, and I kind of commend them for having those bigger dreams. I think you should have these things kind of under your belt first. Now, the first thing, you should be producing at least $80,000 to $100,000 per month. This proves you can handle a certain amount of workload and that you're being efficient with your time. If you can't do this yet as an associate, and now sometimes it's because the practice you're at, they just don't have the amount of patients there for you. But if you have, a good patient pool and you're not able to do that, there's a sign that something's wrong. Either you're taking, too much time for procedures, or there's just some aspect of efficiency that you don't really get. There's some type of bottleneck that's going on. I think you should also have an understanding of non-clinical things like how the front desk works, hiring, firing, how to train staff, how to identify A+ talent, how to improve retention and culture in your office, how to lead your team, how to handle problems, how to handle difficult conversations with patients, having things go wrong and knowing what to do. So these are things, you should have an awareness of at least before you think about going into ownership. Because the last thing you want to do is just hop in and struggle for 5 years and be in a position where you're looking now to sell your practice, and you're stressed out all the time. It's not a good place to be. So the last thing is, I would say you need to research thoroughly. You need to know your area, know your demographic, know your style of dentistry. Are you like more high-end cosmetic person? Are you a bread and butter person? Are you someone that wants high volume? Are you someone that wants more slow, intimate, family style? You got to know all these things before you just, open up a practice. And the thing is, you don't want to go through this alone, right? I think to do this, you want to have a lot of relationships with people who have gone down the ownership path, and maybe even have like a mentor, someone who can kind of instruct you on how to find the right opportunity and how to, someone you can call when, you have things go wrong, because when you're the owner, you're the end all be all. So if there's something you don't know, you want to have someone that you could call and, tap in with. So guys, at the end of the day, ownership is not, a requirement for success in dentistry. It's something that, we kind of hold and we put on a pedestal, but a lot has changed over the past 5 to 10 years. DSOs are taking over. Insurance companies are really, kind of monopolizing the market. And patients, I find, are less and less willing to just pay out of pocket for dentistry, right? They are leaving offices to just go where their insurance goes, and they overall just are very skeptical of dentists. So if you want to discuss anything we just talked about, talk to me one-on-one, please just hit the link in my bio, go to my private school community, subscribe to the channel, like, comment. After we hit 100 members in the private community, I'll be doing a live contract review where we'll be going over everything there. And that link is the best way to get in contact with me, work with me one-on-one, whatever you guys see fit. But thanks so much. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next one.